Hehehe. And welcome to another PrisciTV day. This day, the last day of the week. Lolololo. Hi, Onolith. Hi, Ace. Hello, Mad Jack. Hi, Patchy. Hi, Voice. Hi, Ricket. Hi, Doc. More of the weekend? Like the weekend. Got it. Hi, Gems. Hi, Moppy. Another day like Smurm's day. What is that? Weird mix of days. More weekend. I wish I could stop time. Well, as a powerful vampire I can. No way, lolalalololo. Don't worry, is the end of the week Sunday. So is the day in between Sunday and Monday. If I can probably yes cuz vampire lol. Stop the chat is gonna get tagged. Triangle with eye. My brodas yesterday it kept happening. The light thing. No AC so I just sleep lol. But then was okay. Hi voice. I don't know but what's scary cuz it was like a second but that happened like several times. I wanted to keep seeing yesterday's video but I was already scared. But right now is all good. Light haven't act weird. So today we totally seeing it. I was thinking about it lololol. Yeah, yesterday was acting weird like light was unstable. Awwww. Ups. UPS. Lololo ups. Might be right for PC. But yeah. My brodas, how y'all doing today? Is that what I am seeing in actually moment on 4K? Lolololo. Chilling. That's nice. My brodas never stop actualing is nice to know stuff. Crisis damn bro most have a NASA PC. Isn't that the game people test stuff in? Like PC. Lol. Crisis is old I know. Lololo. Does is well optimized now? Are still the same? Oh okay sorry. I have a problem with that song. I always mess up the first lady. I just don't remember when it starts. Lolololo. Can be annoying not getting the lady right. On the song Lolol. Jamming Prisci. My brodas, let's start watching some vids. I saw some building vid. And I like buildings. I don't know, there's something fun about people doing projects. Don't you think? Well, I like M. Lol. Too much jamming. Lolo. There's a maximum jamming. Lololo. My brodas, thanks for being here. Let's start. First vid is I built an EpiPen launcher. I don't know what is an EPI pen. Let's go.
For thousands of years, humanity has battled sickness in the form of infections, viruses, allergies. And thankfully now we have modern medicine, because before they just kind of take a leech and stick it on you and then send you on your way. But now we have things like epinephrine. Now the only thing that modern medicine has lacked in is a more efficient way to distribute this medicine. Do you see where we're going with this?
EpiPen. I know what those are, but I didn't knew those were called like that. Didn't expected that name.
Now, enter the common male.
Hi.
Seemingly harmless.
What?
Doesn't touch grass.
Well, no, that's actually because...
Because he's allergic.
Okay, yeah, I am allergic.
So what does happen when he has an allergic reaction, you know, from far away? Modern medicine should have fixed this a long time ago, and how do I propose we fix it? By building a gun. This
Eagle sound on the background. This gonna be wild.
is an EpiPen. It's a quick way of delivering epinephrine into your system if you have a bad allergic reaction. Of course, then after you do it, you have to go to the hospital because you got so much adrenaline and stuff going, you could die if you don't. So anyway, now this trainer EpiPen has no needle and has no actual epinephrine in it, okay? You just have it to learn how to use it in case you need it. You take the top off, you take the other top off, and then you go boom. But the nice thing is the dimensions are the same, the size are the same, and honestly the weights are pretty similar, surprisingly. So whatever we designed to fit this should also fit this. Now I'm gonna go put this one over here before I accidentally shoot myself up with epinephrine. The goal of this is to be able to deliver the medicine from far away. If I'm over here and someone else is over there, how am I going to successfully jab them with this? It just has to be shot hard enough, right? I mean, that's the only answer.
The concept of a healer IRL. Kinda game like healer. Healing from distance.
What about a really long stick?
Could you move back a little bit? Right there's fine. Now act like you're having an allergic reaction.
Oh!
Heck.
Oh! Is it bruising?
All right, we don't need to build a gun. Apparently, you just throw it at me.
Returning to the workbench.
Is that a sword?
Don't worry about it. Many moons ago, I built a grapple shot from Halo. And I used this. I still have it. And honestly, the best way to launch one of these EpiPens is probably just gonna be with compressed air. All this is a chamber for pressurized air and a solenoid valve that just releases it all at once with the push of a button. Nothing really super complicated here. So we modeled up and 3D printed little dummies of the EpiPens to test with, just so we didn't accidentally blow up the trainers, and I attached a simple PVC pipe to use as the barrel to start. So when it said this was a 1 1/4 adapter, I don't think it meant it fit a 1 1/4 PVC pipe. It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Well, that's not leaking at all. Miranda Cosgrove. It didn't hit Miranda Cosgrove.
What if you wrapped one in duct tape?
You want to get closer?
Oh, no, I want to make sure I can see everything.
This is 80. I don't really know how to gauge how hard it's hitting something unless we hit a person and then they tell us how much it hurt. Would that have activated it?
I don't know.
3, 2, 1. It was harder than it was before.
You dented it.
Aww. My dry erase board. I'm gonna do this properly.
Oh!
Now it's on there properly, alright? It's at 100... 120. 3, 2... I touched it early. Do you know how hefty we printed these two? Okay, My only concern is if you're over there and I'm over here and you touch too much grass and I have to shoot you with an EpiPen, what if I miss?
That's your only concern.
Like right now I'm full on like musket loading it. I don't have time to do that.
To be clear, that's still your only concern. Out of everything we've done today, that is the only concern that you have, is missing.
I need like a magazine of them. I need multiple tries. We need a bolt action EpiPen gun. Okay, it's the next day and we thought of how to make it bolt action because I think that would be cool. We 3D printed some attachments for it. We've got a little slot for the bolt. This thing will actually fit on top of the barrel. We'll cut a hole in the barrel in the bottom for a magazine. This will hold about 4 different EpiPens, has a spring in it, it'll push them up. We're gonna utilize the fact that a 1-inch PVC pipe fits pretty much perfectly inside of a 1 1/4 PVC pipe, and the thing that will be shifted back and forth with the bolt is this. So here's a diagram of what I'm talking about because my brain's not really in the mood of explaining it right now.
This right here?
That.
Oh, this one. Not this diagram. This one.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm gonna fall off this table. Oh my god. I am not cleaning that up.
Hey Dan,
What?
you missed one. I have to take this off now, don't I? I missed it all.
Explain to the class what went wrong.
Yeah, this was supposed to be further down the barrel so that we would actually have room to pull back the PVC pipe.
I have an idea.
Oh my gosh. It's the one that we tried out before but secretly didn't record because we didn't want anyone to think we're stupid. We made a version of this before. Well, look, another one that's cut the right way. We did it. Incredible. Dan will play the part of the magazine. We open it up. In.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a bad magazine.
And then I take it and I go like that. We're gonna go ahead and temporarily, once again, duct tape. So are we just gonna keep making this thing bigger and bigger? Is that how this is gonna go
Yeah,
down?
long enough so you can just point it at me.
Might as well just do your stick idea. I think I can aim for the top shape. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I did technically hit the chair. 100. 3, 2, 1. 1. Do we want to try a real EpiPen? I want to see if I can actually get it to compress. 3, 2, 1. Even though it didn't hit head on, whatever impact it had depressed it. See, instead of making this piece an adapter, I think we just extend it and then have the inner surface of it match the shape of the EpiPen. Because right now we're losing so much air on either side of it, and I think it's also going to make it straighter. It is the next day. This is a 3D printed pipe. This is going to be the new barrel, and it has the shape of the EpiPen in it. We get maximum sealage. Temporary holder for high pressurized items. Duct tape. 3, 2, 1.
That might work.
2, 1. Oh my god! That's insane. I did not think it was gonna do that. I might miss. That one's a little harder of a target. I might miss. 3, 2, 1.
That hit hard.
That hit really hard. Oh, water went everywhere. Oh, it's leaking! Okay, we're outside now, and we put a real EpiPen in it. We just kind of want to see how far it would go. 2, 1. Keep like pumping this up, obviously once per shot, but since we're doing bolt action, we intend to shoot one after another, meaning we are gonna need some continuous pressure. Should we just take an air compressor and strap it to our back? Introducing a smaller compressor and a backpack. What we're gonna do here, I bet you can't guess. Think, Dan.
Wait, stop.
Only thing is, how are we actually going to connect the two of them together? Oh, nice, so you did know.
That wasn't me. Hi.
I sound like Mort. King Juliet! Now we're running from the backpack tank. And since I'm now carrying a tank around everywhere, we technically don't need our chamber on the back. But when we did take off that extra volume, it started sputtering a lot. So we just kind of put it back and left it in between. Alright, 3, 2, 1. It's so unnecessarily long. Like, technically we don't need this tank back here, but it did make it stop sputtering as much to have a larger volume back behind the valve. We switched from having a bottom loading magazine to a top loading magazine. You stick the EpiPen in there, go like this. That actually like slots in so well. I've got my bolt action. It may or may not be on the wrong side for me to do it with this hand, but it's fine. Okay, I'll just reach around like this, go like this, pull one down, push it into the barrel, and then there we go. And now we just gotta hook it up to the air compressor, which will be on my back. I feel like little Ghostbuster people, you know, they got their like big packs on their back. I don't really have a good like sight because the magazine blocks it. That's probably why top loading magazines aren't popular. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'd be dead.
No!
I want to try to grab it.
You wanna catch it? How far do you think you are right now?
3, 10.
$105.
There you go. Uh-oh, the magazine. Oh no, bro.
Oh, a child having an allergic reaction.
Would you like to know why I brought you here today?
Not particularly.
Well, too bad.
What am I look? Are those EpiPens?
There you go.
Is that duct tape?
Don't worry
That's
about it. It's fine.
it's a little janky.
You said you were allergic to, was it peanuts?
Yeah.
Do you know why you're here now?
I don't think I should be.
So we wanted a way, in case I miss you, I mean, Dan,
What?
I wanted to be able to shoot again. So we made it bolt action.
Perfect.
You do it with the nub? Heck yeah! 3, 2, 1.
This thing's crazy. Dan realizing that was the real EpiPen.
So, we can't really go through this entire video and not use a real EpiPen. We've been using trainers, obviously, because they act the same way, but I think it's time.
Time for the real thing.
Which is the reason for the ballistics gel. Wow. This EpiPen is actually expired. So no, don't yell at me for using like good medicine and wasting it because holy cow, what expensive ammo that is. Okay, it was expensive and now it's expired and would go in the trash anyway, so don't yell at me.
You can still use expired EpiPens. Man, that wind is
The
crazy.
doctors technically recommend you throw it away. People in my comments are gonna be fighting about whether expired EpiPens are still good or bad. Yeah, that's right, fight. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna try to get some cool slow-mo shots of this one EpiPen hitting that ballistics gel block. And yes, I said one. That means we only have one. Meaning if I mess this up, then we're screwed.
Are you saying we only have one shot?
Don't even start with me.
One opportunity
to seize everything you ever wanted?
I'll take your other arm. So I clamped down the launcher and did a couple test runs just to make sure it was aimed perfectly before using the real EpiPen. We're actually gonna take the magazine off for this because I don't wanna like risk it jamming or anything. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be great. Everything's gonna go perfectly. I have one shot. Don't start singing the song!
It's not singing, it's rapping. Wait.
You can see it's real.
Holy heck. That is a big needle in there!
All right, blue back is off. All right, gamers. You ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Where did it go?
Where's the needle?
Is it? No.
Did it step? Oh my god, wait, is that it? Did we do it? I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see the needle. Hold on.
The needle broke off.
Let's look inside the actual EpiPen. Dude, there is liquid coming out of this as if it just like injected it. It's almost like that's how it's supposed to have worked.
Is that the needle?
I don't think that's the needle. I think that's just where it stabbed it. Needle pops in. What we're seeing is the hole that the needle injected the epinephrine into, and then it continued pressing down and bent the needle. Holy cow, dude. Dude, you can see the epinephrine just... It definitely depressed it. We saw the line where the needle went in to the point to where we actually thought the needle got stuck in there, but it didn't. It was just the place where it went in and then retracted, which means it was successful. Right? Technically, it was, yes, thank you, cameraman.
Is that like a...
I'll bring the peanuts out again, Trace. Don't even try me. We are going to go through a real life trial run of Dan having an allergic reaction and me seeing how long it takes to get to him with the EpiPen gun.
Oh, a 4-leaf clover. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Emily?
Oh no, is that an allergic reaction I hear?
I'm itchy.
Oh no, I forgot to turn it on.
Oh, another one. Oh no.
Left hand, move your left hand up. Oh, you're almost there. Oh. You gotta push up. No, you were just on. Yeah. Up. You know, you almost got it. Oh, it's right there, it's right.
Help!
I'm coming! I'm coming! I'm here! It's not pumped up yet. You might have to wait a second. You hanging in there?
No.
Give me 30 more seconds. It'll be over anytime. It's ready. Here, I got you. Dang it, I missed. Oh, frick. I'm coming. I got him. You okay? Hello? Maybe I should have used the stick.
Bruh, the whole video was lol. Too messy. Lolololo. Everything. Thanks for sending it, lol. Good night, voice. Lady. My broda's time for the video that was on the wait. Where did these weird 3D GIFs come from? Let's start.
What you're seeing right now is one of my favorite pieces of art ever. It's a short, looped 3D animation of a smiling sun. But where did it come from, and why does it even exist? And I'm not just asking that about this smiling sun, but also this odd smoking heart character, and this pirate dancing to the tune of his radio, or this flaming anthropomorphic baseball, this little low-resolution polar bear, this man spinning around a roulette wheel, this jester dancing in front of a princess, and a library of tens of thousands of other little animations. I've known of these things for well over a decade now, and I've always absolutely adored them. Whether they were looped over a song on YouTube, or stamped in the corners of some random old website, or tacked onto the side of a PowerPoint presentation I saw in school when I was like 7 years old. They've always given off this comforting, nostalgic, but odd, kind of uncanny feeling to me, with their mix of crude late 90s, early 2000s 3D modeling and unnatural stilted movements, but still honest and whimsical.
OMG, here it is.
3D modeling and unnatural stilted movements, but still honest and whimsical intentions. But I never actually knew where they came from. I'd always just taken these things for granted as bizarre little internet entities that spawn onto my screen once every few months before melting back into whatever algorithm they emerged from. And so I did just a little bit of digging and found out that actually these are all distributed and owned by the exact same company. These weird 3D GIFs all come from animationfactory.com. This is Animation Factory, the website all these GIFs come from. An online library of web graphics built for PowerPoint presentations, educational resources, personal and commercial web pages, or any sort of graphic design project someone is working on. And it's huge. The site's home to this early internet infinity of over 600,000 clip art images, stock videos, web graphics, PowerPoint templates and backgrounds, fonts and sounds, and of course their iconic 3D GIFs, organized into dozens of themes and subcategories and absurd hyper-specific niches. And for one of 3 yearly payments from Gold to Platinum to Pro, you could have all of this at your fingertips to use on whatever you want. Well, as long as you're following the rules, that is. Rules that get less and less strict the more you pay. But before we get into the obscure, twisting timeline of this platform, up to it now being basically discontinued, or all the little production and distribution details of the animations, and even a conversation I had with Animation Factory staff, why does this actually exist? Well, it's 1987, and the GIF was just born. The graphics interchange format, or GIF, was created by Steve Wilhite and his team at the now long defunct CompuServe, and the objective of the GIF was simple: create an image format that could be efficiently used over the agonizingly slow dial-up connections and primitive phone lines of
Chewing
the
snail for life? Sounds like a deal to me.
time. I mean, most online services back then were text-based. Actual images were a luxury, and CompuServe needed a way to display color images without them taking forever to download. And so we got the GIF, still in use almost 4 decades later. A format with efficient compression and universal browser support, if a fairly limited palette of just 256 colors. But if you tried to put together an Animation Factory classic back then, like, I don't know, anthropomorphic liver chugging beer, or Bigfoot chasing random guy, or even something a lot simpler like this rudimentary yellow smiley face, you would have got results instead like these. Yeah, see, in the early days of the World Wide Web, GIFs were mostly used as static images. Their small file sizes and reliability made them ideal for things like logos and graphics, or simple illustrations and diagrams, transparent buttons and overlays, and even some early loading indicators and progress bars for people's websites. But when there was animation with early GIFs, they played just once, ending on the last
I get it, Mad Jack, no problem, thanks for the support. Chewing snail, please share some.
frame and becoming static. That needed to change. See, GIFs weren't originally meant to move at all, actually, but they've always technically been able to. The GIF format stores multiple images in its one file, and naturally that led people to use those multiple images as the frames of an animation, but with no mechanism to repeat that animation yet. And so, in September 1995, 8 years after the GIF's inception, Netscape implemented the Netscape application block. A block here basically being like an instruction you could add to a GIF's data, with Netscape's block telling a GIF to repeat its animation a set amount of times, anywhere from 1 time to 65,535 times to be exact. Or if you would just enter the number 0, it would repeat infinitely. And so the endlessly looping GIF as we now know it was created. And the following years would see the internet develop from this archaic text-based information dump to a mesmerizing cosmos of personal, pointless little homepages and charming cobbled together websites, all decorated with plenty of GIFs. Under construction signs, spying eyes, spinning email icons in 3D titles, pixel art animals, tiny little low resolution sprites for anything you could imagine, Homer Simpson entering 3D, banners and bumpers and rainbow bars and rotating grayscale cubes with your own face on every side, a background made of birds, hovering crescent moons, more under construction signs, stoner dragons and wizards, flags and planets and butterflies and fire and fish, swimming around the just sprawling, impossible computerscape that was the internet of the mid to late 90s. This nebula of sites and blogs and pages about fishing trips, or Dungeons and Dragons, or dating lives, or mathematics and science, or stone sculptures of animals, or just some random person you'll never know writing up a recount of all the holidays they've been on around the world. All, of course, filled to the brim with clip art, gorgeous early computer graphics, low resolution images and photos, eye-strainingly incoherent color schemes, and blocks of text, and GIFs. GIFs. And more GIFs. there was a demand for animated GIFs now, for little beeping, buzzing buttons and signposts and spinning symbols and emblems and badges and wacky little moving characters and animals and elements to decorate your site with, to explore this exciting new medium of personal expression with. And just as there was a demand for photos and still images for the same purpose, there was now a demand for GIFs, which did something still graphics couldn't in adding actual movement to a page. Pair this with businesses and schools also moving towards digital presentations with platforms like PowerPoint, and that demand was real. There was a big market here, both personally and commercially, and companies and services are, of course, made to capitalize on demands. So in 1996, the internet's new one-stop shop for all things GIF was founded. Enter Animation Factory. Animation Factory was founded by two animators, Art Holden and Jim Maloney, and for the next few years it would act as a storefront for the animations they were already producing with their own studio, Eclipse Digital. See, Animation Factory is not an animation studio, it's an animation distributor. It collects and licenses animations from whoever is feeding it to then sell to customers so both itself and the artists can profit. And over time it would grow to include the works of several other studios and teams and artists, all selling their work under the Animation Factory name. But for now, it was just Holden and Maloney supplying and running the entire service. And from what we can salvage with the Wayback Machine, the earliest archive of Animation Factory is this scattered memory of a website from February 1st, 1999. Almost all of its images and links long dead, but thankfully all the text and information and a surprising amount of actual GIFs here are still intact, and from this we can learn a lot. First of all, Animation Factory was alive here. New animations were being added daily, and the site had a ton of little ornamentations like an animation of the day section where they'd showcase a different GIF every day. For example, Thursday 28th of January 1999.
Internet is not like this anymore. Whoa.
Bongo drum. And even the site's logo was a GIF back then. Every single one of the already 11,000 original animated GIFs here was created by just one of three animators, Art Holden, Jim Maloney, and a third, as far as I can see, unmentioned animator. Though as soon as July 1999, just 5 months later, the factory's ranks had already grown to include 3 more animators, some web designers, shipping and business managers, and just generally a few more helping hands with the growing business. And oh boy, was the business growing. Animation Factory's early years saw a gold rush of aesthetic developments and real tangible expansions, with the site rapidly evolving from this disjointed labyrinth of text to a site with an identity. Its signature orange color scheme, the little characters splattered all over the homepage, the constantly updating banners and promos, this felt like a real busy, bustling, working factory. And there was a selection of products on offer, mainly of course the actual animated GIFs, which all have a distinct time-stamped look to them now, with very crude, stilted movements and less cartoony, more uncanny proportions and very crude, stilted movements and less cartoony.
OMG this. Looks friendly.
More uncanny proportions and looks to them than the more modern stuff.
Me.
Thanks of course to 1, these all needing to be pumped out on an industrial scale, meaning corners were cut frequently, and 2, the limitations of the actual 3D modeling software at the time. As they mention in their FAQ, they were using a combination of Lightwave 3D and Photoshop to do the image work, and then they compiled and optimized the animation using uLead's GIF animator, and so these animations all bear a charmingly archaic style to them. And since they all still exist on animationfactory.com today, sitting beside works made decades into the future, they are very easy to pick out and appreciate. And there was also a premium gold site for members only. There were newsletters and subscriptions, as well as a rich catalog of physical collections they were actively producing on CDs. And this whole website, as it now lies here entrenched deep into the long abandoned archives of the internet, still just oozes enthusiasm and passion for its craft. From the personal, almost conversational way Holden writes his answers to FAQs or explains why he and Maloney started the company, it just gives off the impression of a man who is proud of what he's creating and wants to create more. Like he said, their motivation with Animation Factory in particular was to provide, and I quote, a dynamic clip art collection which is continually updated based on the wants and needs of the customers. But Animation Factory wasn't the only of its kind. 1996 saw a bunch of other heavy hitters in this newly emerging online graphics market, with clipart.com or Net Object Fusion, which was revolutionary for web design at the time, coming out besides it. I mean, Getty f***ing Images came out the year following, which means that Animation Factory had competition. Formidable competition. It was coming in shoulder to shoulder with giants. If it wanted to be a successful graphics library in the long term, which it evidently did, it was going to need more than just wacky clip art and a load of static buttons. It needed something special, something different. And of course, that would be its animated GIFs. The trademark and selling point of AnimationFactory.com. Over the course of its now 30 years of life, Animation Factory has collected work from countless different animation teams, freelance artists, and pre-existing collections, and as of today houses 38,852 animated GIFs, which is a ridiculous amount of animation work in of itself to all be stored in one place, especially considering the colossal volume of just actual individual models and 3D objects and little moving parts across all these animations. I've messed around with things like stop motion animation with clay sculptures growing up, and I have somewhat of a grasp of how time consuming and arduous it is to sculpt something three-dimensional and then frame by frame articulate it into any kind of coherent motion, which from memory is very. And so this bottomless pit of micro animations is dumbfounding to me. And while many are reused and recurring over multiple animations, like this pirate who you may have seen dancing beside his boombox to sea shanties on YouTube a few years ago, the variety of those reuses more than makes up for it. I mean, you can find him tapping away at a keyboard, dueling with a ninja, opening up a treasure chest, making someone walk the plank, or sneaking off with a multitude of different items. And if anything, actually having some familiar faces to run into a few times while digging through the abyss that is Animation Factory is pretty comforting. Like this anthropomorphic heart character I mentioned earlier, who features in a whopping 46 animations, maybe even being the most used character, from various crying and laughing or angry emoticons as a disembodied head to more mundane things like him singing or dancing or getting ready to fight, to more contextually relevant things for a heart to be doing, like saying no to a tray of junk food, saying yes to vegetables, saying he loves you, working hard to press weights over his head, symbolizing cardiovascular strength, or struggling to carry around a man with a presumably alcoholic drink in his hand, symbolizing the strain the heart is put under by an unhealthy lifestyle, or him smoking and coughing and lumbering around in this tar-covered, exhausted state. bloodshot eyes and absolute
OMG.
misery on his face, which honestly I've never seen anything make me want to avoid smoking more than the just pure dread of this exact gif. Like, Jesus, okay fine, I won't smoke. It looks like life is hell for him. These obviously symbolizing a heart suffering from nicotine or alcohol addictions. And I'm explaining the obvious reasons for each of these animations not to be trite, but to show that yes, these things, no matter how odd or abstract or seemingly unusable in any reasonable context they are, were all made to represent something and fulfill some purpose. None of these things just exist in some wacky, bizarre vacuum. They exist for a reason. And good old Mr. Hart here is certainly one of the most heavily featured characters, but even then doesn't make up anywhere close to the majority of just Hart animations alone. There are still 214 more animations tagged as Hart, from just generic 3D Hart to Angel holding generic 3D Hart to realistic 3D Hart to Hart box of chocolates to
Good night, Moppy.
unknown slime forming into Heart, to small gleeful grey humanoid smashing Heart with hammer, to chef stirring soup emitting hearts, to man who is a literal prisoner of love, to Heart thawing out from ice cube, Heart that is broken, Heart that is stone, Heart that is earth, donut professing its true love, cyborg woman with circuit board heart, to, as you can tell, dozens of other random examples. There's this masked thief you can find creeping around, stealing people's identities and credit cards or being chased by law enforcement. This yellow peanut man running, dancing, being chased and tossed around by elephants, the mascot of his own peanut butter brand. This mummy you can find being wrapped up, chasing his own undead head or boogieing under neon lights. This blue little computer buddy as he smiles, rages, plays cards, gets checked up on, or is assailed by this bizarre green virus creature in one of my all-time favorite animation sets as we see each outcome of this battle. From the first spread of the virus in smaller forms to total virus victory and takeover to the computer blocking it out with a literal firewall to some spin-off installments with just the virus as it blasts out floppy disks or taunts its next victim. And I love to imagine these as actual little sagas and stories and worlds we're getting a peek into with these GIFs. Little windows into this bizarre, colourful, whimsical and odd world with side characters and antagonists and heroes all interacting and bouncing off each other. Animation Factory does even have some larger actual animated scenes for sale as well, with fully modeled environments and all the same characters living in them. And man, I really hope someday we get to see a short film or even a video game or something modeled with these same graphics. It's fucking magic for me. There are these googly-eyed calendars making up another one of my favorite collections, one for each month in a little diorama, offering you a present besides a Christmas tree for December, swaying in the breeze with flowers for May, standing over a bountiful harvest in September, or riding a missile in July. But then these calendars are themselves a subset of this larger, more uniform collection of just items and things, all being anthropomorphized with the exact same looped walking animation and disembodied gloves and shoes and googly eyes. Animation Factory literally just has this little marching army of various instruments and appliances like this wrench or this drum or this electric keyboard, a CD, a screwdriver, coins of various currencies, the earth, footballs, basketballs and golf balls and fruits, single digit numbers and every letter of the alphabet. And my personal favorite and most elaborate of the bunch, this crown-topped $sign jumping in a mountain of cash. And of course you've then got even more generic collections like these rudimentary floating hands, typing in pin codes, giving a thumbs up, clicking a mouse, twiddling thumbs and other gestures, as well as just hundreds of different humans in different occupations and activities and emotions as you would expect, from the corporate to the leisurely to the educational to the biblical to the cartoonish to the, well, anything really in between or outside of real world human endeavor. But like I said, Animation Factory, although established under the Holden and Maloney animation team, grew to become a storefront for the works of many, many different artists, and eventually even becoming its own detached entity. The original team breaking off to pursue other projects around 13 years later, Holden and Maloney leaving and starting up the company Presenter Media in 2009, which still operates today as a resource library for PowerPoint presentations, meaning Animation Factory was left without its creators and put into the hands of whoever would inherit it, a long, messy chain of ownership as it turns out, ultimately becoming an amalgamation of different art styles and producers and minds as it did so. And you can tell. You can tell these weren't made by the same people or the same tools, or even during the same decade. And of course, a gradual improvement in objective animation quality over the years is going to be visible, but the variety goes a lot deeper than just older and newer looking animations. Animation Factory does not have a consistent art style, or even a consistent design philosophy. It does have one, I guess you could say, signature or most recognizable art style though, with animations like I'm showing on screen now. Characterized by the uncanny plasticky caricature faces of the humanoids, the clunky rigid movements, various commonalities in the way features are modeled, and a generally similar tempo and tendency to freeze in place for a second or two before looping their animation. And you can find these archived on the site as early as 2001, maybe even earlier if I'm mistaken, basically being the second actual identifiable style of the entire library, following on from the very first, less exaggerated, more archetypally 90s CGI style of the site's birth. And this is its most frequent and iconic art style. It shows up again and again, but it's also not anywhere close to the majority of GIFs here, and neither is the original low-resolution 90s style from the site's founding with Eclipse Digital. The rest of Animation Factory is just this patchwork collage of countless different art styles with different lighting, rendering, modeling, mannerisms, tones, and mechanics, all clearly from completely different places. For example, if we look at all the animations with the tag businessman, we get these. First in line are these three, all of the classic Animation Factory style, the stiff jumping, the odd faces, the pause before restarting. And these same businessman models reappear in quite a lot of these, some just being palette swaps of the same guy in different situations. But then if we move to the right one more, we get this donkey businessman looking a lot smoother and more like a kids movie extra. Move down and we've got this wildly more realistic and human businessman. Move further along, this Lego businessman. Move to the next page, this one with extremely cartoonish proportions, this robot one, this bulb-headed humanoid one, this TV head one, this really primitive vintage CGI looking one with a much more crudely modeled face, or this little button-eyed model, or these 3D stickman style businessmen. And seeing all this, I began to wonder, where exactly has Animation Factory got its animations from over the years? Because it isn't uniform, and like I said, it isn't Eclipse Digital and Art Holden's team anymore. They're nowhere to be seen on the website today, and haven't been for almost 17 years. Instead, an entirely different company, Authentic Creatives LLC, is listed as the site's owner. And who are they? What studio is supplying them? Who did they acquire Animation Factory from? Well, as it turns out, the factory had already gone through decades of ownership change by the time they even got a hold of it. And the more questions I asked and the deeper I dug, the more Animation Factory's obscure corporate history twisted and mutated before me. Okay. I went down the rabbit hole with Animation Factory, and I've managed to piece together a timeline of ownership, transactions, who's owned it and when and for how much, and so on. It's been a winding and dark rabbit hole trying to track down each company involved here, with random old business filings and insider articles and contracts scattered around on abandoned websites from over 2 decades ago, but I think I've got the history of Animation Factory down. So here it is. 1996, Animation Factory is founded as an independent company and online service, a digital media library specializing in royalty-free animations and graphics for websites, presentations, and educational materials, working hand in hand with its dedicated studio Eclipse Digital, and evidently it was having a lot of success because somewhere in the year 2000, Animation Factory is acquired by VA Software Limited, or as they had just been known, VA Linux Systems. The company had just transitioned from selling Linux hardware to dealing with software and online services, and that's interesting to know because Tux, the iconic penguin mascot of the Linux operating system, is a part of Animation Factory. You can find him
Damn.
waddling, jumping, and sitting around here as a neat little artifact of the
So cute.
VA software era, and it's around this time the factory begins to develop its own aesthetic, with the aforementioned orange color scheme and some actual industrial elements like pipes and valves used to connect the UI, and Tux was front and center promoting the site's latest products. But if you're wondering why we can't pin down an exact date in the year 2000 for when VA acquired Animation Factory, well, we only know at all because December 23rd, 2005, Animation Factory is sold to Jupiter Images for $9.35 million. Jupiter Images being a division of its larger multimedia parent corporation, Jupiter Media, who in 2004 had begun acquiring a ton of image assets and services. It had Think Stock Footage, ablestock.com, clipart.com, Liquid Library, photoobjects.net, photos.com, and now Animation Factory. And this is really when Animation Factory hit its aesthetic prime. The site feels super polished now and has a ton of character, with its actual catalogs being richer than ever. But sadly, most background information is kept a secret here, with Animation Factory's About page mostly just detailing things about Jupiter Images and not the factory itself. And this is also where we can get an insight into just how successful Animation Factory had become, as well as finding the evidence of VA Software having even been a part of all this in the first place. See this report from December 27th, 2005 from Animation World Network, with some words from the CEOs of both companies regarding the transaction. Quote, Animation Factory's leadership position in providing 3D animations, clip art, video clips, and PowerPoint presentations further expands Jupiter Images' range of image offerings and solidifies Jupiter Images' position as the dominating company providing images by paid online subscription, stated Alan M. Meckler, chairman of Jupiter Media. We anticipate significant sales and business synergies between Animation Factory and our Jupiter Images division, as well as our other Jupiter Media properties. We also expect that this acquisition will immediately be accretive to our earnings and cash flows, added Meckler. And then from Ali Janab, president of VA Software, we get this. We have been proud to work with Animation Factory over the last 5 years, but believe that the business better fits the Jupiter Images portfolio of products and services. And this was huge. First of all, now we can place an accurate date on VA acquiring Animation Factory, even if it is just the year, with that having to be the year 2000, since we know from VA's literal president that they had been working with Animation Factory for 5 years, up to it now being sold in 2005. And secondly, Animation Factory was winning. It was being recognized by a $100 million plus company for its leadership position in web graphics. So much so, they were willing to spend just under $10 million to have it for themselves, and they would have Animation Factory to themselves for almost a decade, making them the longest standing owner of Animation Factory in history. However, that can only be said for Jupiter Images, not Jupiter Media. because on October 23rd, 2008, Getty Images, the world-ending colossus of stock graphics itself, had announced it was acquiring Jupiter Images for $96 million. The acquisition being completed on February 24th, 2009, just
Getty.
a few months later. And now little old Animation Factory was absorbed into the largest stock image company of all time. And you could tell. The animations were the smoothest and most canny they'd ever been. Quality was high, its aesthetic was set in stone, business was booming. These trivial little characters and creatures and micro stories churning away under the many layers of mass-produced corporate assets and services chaining up to Getty Images itself, and ultimately its owner in the multi-billion-dollar private equity firm Hellman and Friedman, where it would stay for 5 years, until in late January 2014, Getty Images sold it to another major player in the stock graphics arena, Vital Imagery Limited. The company adding Animation Factory and Clipart.com to its already impressive repertoire of stock graphics libraries, making it, and I quote, the single largest supplier of Clipart and 3D animations worldwide, increasing its inventory from 8 million assets to over 21 million. With Vital Imagery just 2 years later for their anniversary, crowning Animation Factory as the #1 3D animation subscription site, with it housing over 600,000 items at the time. But wait, isn't that still how many it has today, an entire decade of time later? Well, yeah, it is. Which brings us to the final ownership change and acquisition in this entire timeline, which has sadly but inevitably now frozen Animation Factory in time. See, I haven't been able to track down exactly when this happened, but somewhere along the line, Vital Imagery would sell Animation Factory along with the entire Clipart.com and iPhotos range to a company called Authentic Creatives LLC, who are to this day, right now, still its owner. And the best I could find was that this happened somewhere after mid to late 2017, with this report from the site Trademarkia recording Animation Factory as a registered trademark owned by Vital Imagery Limited as late as July 24th, 2017, with whatever happened since then resulting in Animation Factory & Co. switching over to Authentic Creatives and Vital Imagery itself going out of business, their own now private Instagram page still listing the sites as its own, and its LinkedIn page now beginning with "we were," which is weirdly haunting. And around September 2020, Animation Factory had its final aesthetic change to this slightly flatter squared layout, which it still uses today. So yeah, that just about covers the history of Animation Factory, the company, but still, I had so many questions about its animations, about production pipelines and creative choices and softwares and artists, and you know what? Fuck it, I've done enough digging. I'm just gonna ask them myself. If you have any questions, please contact customer service by email at support@animationfactory.com. Weekdays from 9 AM to 5 PM EST. Okay. And so I wrote them the following email. Do you, Animation Factory, create the animations you sell yourselves, or are they created by another company or animation team and you buy them? And if I may ask, what software are they created on? Thank you. If I can learn this, I may buy a year's subscription. To which Animation Factory replied this. Thank you for reaching out. Some animations are fully owned by Animation Factory, while others are created by independent artists who are compensated through a royalty-based arrangement. In all cases, the content is licensed to us for distribution through Animation Factory, ensuring subscribers have clear and legitimate usage rights. Because our library spans many years, different tools have been used depending on the project and artist. A yearly subscription gives you access to this wide range of animations with straightforward licensing. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Regards, Lisa H. And in response to that, I, now very excited at having got an actually substantial reply, wrote up this mammoth of an email containing 8 different questions and a bunch of unnecessary clarifications about my intentions, which I won't read out for brevity's sake, but as you can see, it was a lot. If they were able to get back to me on all this, it would be huge, and we'd be able to understand these little gifts once and for all. This is what they messaged back. Hey Lugalan, thanks for your inquiry. We unfortunately don't have much of the historical information from the website or the assets on it, as we acquired it as part of a collection of sites a few years ago, and it's been pretty much on autopilot since, with other priorities taking over. No new animations have been added to the site in many years, and it mainly lives on as a legacy site that many of us used early on in our website design and development journeys. Best of luck with your video essay, Andrew. Wow. Okay, so it looks like a lot of the little creative details about Animation Factory are genuinely just lost to time, and unless a bunch of ex-staff members from various different time spans over decades of history are pulled out of corporate obscurity for an interview, we likely won't know much of those details ever. AnimationFactory.com is still afloat though, up and running as an artifact of a bygone era, frozen in time and inherited by an entirely new team of fresh faces who seem happy enough to keep it online, but were not there for any of its prior winding, twisted, long story. The many citizens of this now retired and deserted but once bustling and brimming and constantly expanding metropolis of gifs and characters and storylines and colors and expressions and movements still dancing on as they have been all this time regardless, jumping and smiling and running and going about their days over and over for all eternity. But the Animation Factory story doesn't end here. You may have seen this Animation Factory gif recently of a jester dancing before an unamused princess with the text, "How it feels to DM a woman," trending as one of the most viral memes of December 2025, being remixed and recycled over and over by countless people. These Animation Factory gifs of construction workers were viral for the 3D GIF dubstep meme a few years back as well, those videos garnering millions and millions of views, with the dedicated channel 3D GIF dubstep still uploading to this day to the tune of tens of thousands of views and over 30,000 subscribers. Each of their uploads, these bizarre amalgamations of Animation Factory GIFs and realistic backgrounds coupled with, at times, hour-long dubstep soundtracks. Or the Pirate, as I mentioned earlier, a regular shitpost character to accompany low-quality compressed sea shanties, or Dat Boy, literally one of the most infamous dank memes of 2016, this unicycling frog from Animation Factory's Essential Collection 3, which was even found inside someone's actual physics textbook at school. Or several Animation Factory gifs looping over tracks from artists like Pilot Red Sun on YouTube, or just any of the many genuinely huge memes over the past decade that have in one way or another featured these uncanny little relics of this one particular godforsaken website. These things are special. I mean, how else would they have existed into the current day with any sort of relevancy if they weren't? There's just something about them, their look, their feel, their crude, odd models and vibrant personalities, their sheer numbers and ability to fit almost any situation. Although we likely aren't going to see any more of these things, they also aren't going to die anytime soon. These weird 3D GIFs all come from AnimationFactory.com. And of course, thank you to my members. Sorry for leaving this one a little last minute this time, but thank you to Sneezebot8000, Sebi, Spurgoni, KoiKoi13, and Ethan Lewis.
The final. Mom is calling. Lol. Give me a second. Okay, my brodas. Sorry. That video was mega interesting. I had seen lots of those 3D GIF before. I think everyone, in general, the Linux penguin surprised me since I saw it kinda at the beginning of the video and I was not so sure. I was like I think it is but was not sure and then it was confirmed. Long story kind sag end. I like how primitive 3D it looks. I like that. Old 3D is really nice. Vintage. Yeah, it has something nice on it. But nothing like the munching snail. Bowling? Munching snail is top tier content. Oh, there's also a video about that here. We can save it for tomorrow. Weird bowling animations. I see. I wonder why they looks like that. Bowling animations. Wireframes. What is that? My bro, does this vampire feel tired? I am going to resto. Thanks for today. And for this days of this week. Please take lots of care. Drink lots of water. Have a nice rest of Sunday. Rest a lot. Thanks a lot for today. Please donate plasma if you can. Thanks a lot, awwws. Please take care. Love y'all. Tomorrow let's start the week with energy. Thanks again.